Get her. Yeah, right now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, Sir Senior, once again, you are first in the room. Welcome. So thank you all again for just joining us on this F-Bomb Friday. Who is spooked out by today? I tell you, I'm personally not. I kind of have, as I've gotten into my adult years, doing my adulting thing, I begin to realize that the days are what you make of them. So I said this is going to be a fantastic day, even with it being even with it being F Bomb Friday, even with it being Friday the 13th, it's still going to be a great day. And so, because it is a great day, we have a great show today where we're going to be engaging. Hi, Naima. Welcome, welcome. Y'all put your glowers up as you're coming into the room, please, because as you all know, I am on StreamYard, not on YouTube, so I cannot see who's all in. Um, so if you put your glowers up, it kind of separates things out for me a bit, and I'm able to see who's who and who's what. So make sure you put your glowers up or your lighters up so I know when you're coming in. Again, thank you all for joining us for this really special F-Bomb Friday. We are making it our best day ever, and we're just doing a discussion that absolutely I'm thrilled to present because I am a parent. And I know, Naima, you're a parent as well. We have daughters the same age. So we're talking a little bit about what homeschooling is, why it is something that is very much encouraged for us, particularly to involve ourselves with. Hey, Jose, welcome, welcome. And also, we're going to be discussing why are we afraid to homeschool? Because I tell you, when I talk to people about why I'm deciding to homeschool my children and what I do with developing curriculum for my children, uh, just a look of shock and awe comes on their face. And I mean, sometimes these are very, very, you know, very, what do we call woke people? They're very woke, but the idea of homeschooling is something that's a little bit terrifying to a lot of us. And when I say us, as you all know, I mean people of the melanated, Black, African descent, community, culture, and diaspora. That is who I'm ultimately talking to. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce a great guest. We had a great opportunity to share a panel together a couple of weeks ago. Also met through African Millennial, which you all know is becoming a fast favorite here with the glowers and the lighters. And we shared a panel with African Millennial and Sammy's Treasures. And since we've met, we've been dialoguing and talking, and I'm actually taking some of her curriculum and I'm implementing it into the curriculum that I've developed for my, children. I have two, a 13 and 11-year old. So we're going to be talking today about some of the miseducation tactics of us and how homeschooling is being used as a tool to combat that miseducation, and why we're so afraid to self-educate, to educate our children. Okay, so Jose is already jumping into it, which I love. Thank you so much, Jose. Homeschooling is a must these days. Too many male and female predator teachers and liberals. Thank you, Jose. So without further ado, you all please welcome to the stage Mz.Roots Online.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me on your channel, Courtney. This is quite new to me. I have to put it out there and let you guys know that I'm new to the whole YouTubing scene. I've only recently created an Instagram and been interacting online and networking online. So you'll probably sense that I'm a little bit nervous sometimes because ultimately I'm a teacher. That is what I do. That is what I've been doing for the past 15 years. Mainly secondary schools and colleges, post 16 education. And during my experiences, I've seen a lot. I am a minority in my position, in my profession, if you like. As you can hear, I'm from the UK. My background is Caribbean. My parents are Jamaican, but I was born in the UK and went through the British education system, which is subtly racist, unfortunately. Straight away, when you engage in the curriculum here, you realize that there's so much unfairness. The privileges are not fair. And as a person of color, you have to work that bit harder to achieve, to be seen, to get up there, if you like. So the education system, unfortunately, can be crippling and actually doesn't offer as much opportunity as we've been told it would. It is somewhat a myth and not really designed for us. Hence why home education is an alternative. I have created a YouTube channel during quarantine, actually, when I had all this time on my hands and a lot was going on in the media. Obviously, we're all on lockdown. We've got time to reflect and really consider our positions. And, as I say, a lot happened in the media. We know what happened to Brother Floyd, and all of that was, heavily documented on the TV in the UK and really impacted our community and me personally. So I had an opportunity to kind of pull out some resources that I had developed back in 2012 and decided to upload it to the YouTube channel and really start thinking about how we can develop a curriculum that suits us, people of African heritage, because unfortunately the curriculums that we are conforming to and tapping into and engaging with are not beneficial for the development of us as a people, as a nation, So as I say, the curriculum that I've been looking at and developing is an Afro-centralized type curriculum. We kind of look at Africa from a positive perspective, which hasn't been done. And I feel that that's what's been affecting our identity. I think that's what's given us a complex, all these negative connotations of the continent and people on the continent. And I think that's kind of rippled into us kind of having complexes and issues with who we are and not self-loving and, not being able to unite as a people almost. So I'm really advocating an alternative curriculum for people of African heritage, for us to really look at what it is we're telling our children from a young age, and even our adult learners, etc. We need to be changing the narrative of what has already been kind of delivered in mainstream schools and mainstream platforms. What can I say? I think that the mainstream system has proven to be failing. Many of our young people are falling out of school by the time they're 13, 14. That's because they're not connecting with what is being taught in schools. They're just not connecting with the content because it's not about them. They're being told another man's story, or a curriculum that's developed around capitalism ultimately. So, you're expected to go through this system and then, get the 9 to 5, and, it all revolves around generating funds for a system that actually is not going to benefit you. It just feels like this hamster's wheel that you're going on, and hence why our young people are not engaging. Home education is the way forward, absolutely, or other types of curriculum in other types of institutions. It needs to be reformed. It needs to be re-looked at. We need more representations of ourselves in the classroom. If I go back to the question that Courtney has posed, why are we scared of home education? I think it's because people don't know where to start. Your parents, you haven't done teachers training. Maybe there's not enough platforms for you to access materials from. You need kind of like a structure. You need something that you can follow, maybe. You don't know what's age appropriate. So these are all the things that I'm imagining people are thinking when they want to homeschool but don't know where to start. Do they continue with what the mainstream schools are saying? Do you still do English, math, science like they say? Or is there an alternative? Well, actually, the alternative's not out there as much. That's the bit that I'm talking about there. There needs to be more developed alternatives, different perspectives on subjects that are going to develop a more rounded individual, especially, as I say, people of African heritage. What is it they need to know to progress and grow? Is it about tackling identity first? Is it about establishing what it is they want as opposed to what we think they need? Do we nurture talents? Do we kind of sit back and see what comes out of the young person and then develop that talent? I mean, these are all questions that are unanswered. We've not researched this. We've not really, took ownership of that aspect of a young person's development. We've given it over to another nation to make decisions on that part, So I really think that there's a huge niche there. I think that there's a huge opportunity also. I think education is the key. I think education, when you think about what it means, holistically, it's the hub of everything, isn't it? So it's how we're defining education. And, as I say, there's a huge opportunity there for us to be doing research and developing how education looks. If we think about home education, what are the benefits of having online platforms? And what kind of content would you like? History, science. How would a science lesson look? For instance, biology. Is there a need for specific biology around melanated people? Do we need, black surgeons, black doctors? I mean, there's levels to it all. I mean, I can definitely say that I believe that there is a difference. I mean, gosh, of course. And, that is why we're different colors. That is why we have different frames. It's not about being racist. It's about understanding that there is a difference. You only have to be visual enough and honest enough to look and see that my hair is different to your hair. So does it need a different type of research? I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, I personally feel that there is room there for subject specific around people of African heritage. I do believe that that is something we could look at, and maybe new types of careers could come out of that. I'm going to have a look at some of the comments because I need energy now. So I need to kind of feed off people. I'm just looking. It says black people don't like to be around each. This is from Snuggle 668. Black people don't like to be around each other long enough to teach each other. Wow. I mean, that's got a lot to do with self-hate and the issues we've got with being unified. I mean, there's levels to that, Snuggles, 668. If you think about the Willie Lynch, deactivating that Willie Lynch chip, there's a lot of work that people need to do on themselves before they can work with each other. I agree. Again, can that be done in an education setting though? With a good set of principles and good leadership and a good system? Could education be the formula that helps the unification of our people? A different type of education. I'll throw that out there. I'm going to read a few more of these comments just because I need to feed off some energy. I'm not used to doing monologues. Courtney, you've put me on the spot here. I'm not going to lie. Homeschooling is a must these days. Too many male and female predator teachers and liberals. Yeah, I agree. I think homeschooling should definitely be an option and a quality option. So I think what's happening at the moment is homeschooling is an option, but you're just left to your own devices. There's not much support you get. There's no real services that you signpost to support you with homeschooling. So I think that's what needs developing, good quality resources. So if you make a decision to homeschool, you've got the correct support and network system so that your children benefit from your decisions. I'm going to keep going down. I want to say hi to all of Courtney's subscribers. I feel very welcomed. Thank you very much, everybody. And I can see the glows coming up. Wisdom saying black people in the UK, black UK people, especially black UK women, and their accents are very attractive. Wow. Thank you very much. Peace. Donny, bro. Yes, bro. Thank you for being here. Peace, power, love, and light. Unity. That's my bro, Donny. Yeah, hit those lights. Scrolling down, it says Jose Garcia say nobody wants to say it, but schools serve as free babysitters these days. True. As a teacher, as I say, for over 15 years, I'm going to be honest, a lot of my colleagues fall into teaching because of it just being an opportunity. Honestly, you really would think that people go into teaching because they're passionate about the youth, or they've got like a real interest in developing curriculum and teaching styles, etc. But really, you've got a lot of people who have chose teaching because their first desire, for instance, what they did their degree in, careers that they aspired for are just not available. So they fall into teaching as almost like a backup. So the passion's not really there. The love that they're supposed to have for the children, that real passion, I feel is not there. People are just doing it because it's a job. For me, it's more than a job, it's a lifestyle. I live and breathe education. Like I love to learn and I love to teach. It's a two-way process. I learn from my students and my students learn from me, and I have all these different strategies that I like to play around with to ensure that my students feel happy and engaged, and we create a learning community. And I kind of respect feedback as well. From a student's feedback, I kind of improve my lesson, and I'm really reflective like that. Whereas other teachers, they just go in, do their thing, and don't really care about what the students think or whatever. And, it's another day in the office, and, they get paid at the end of the month, and that's it, and it's such a shame. I think teaching is one of those things where you got to understand that you're impacting a young person's life. And that's why I went into education, because there were a lot of teachers that inspired me when I was a young person, and I still remember some of the lessons now as an adult, and they helped me make a decision on what I wanted to do as an adult. So I kind of wanted a piece of that for myself, and I think that actually it's kind of it's a profession that's profoundly effective, and you have this impact on young people's lives in a very deep way, and it shouldn't be took for granted. And I think that's one of the missing things that people do when they become teachers. They don't realize the impact that they have on young people. Unfortunately, that's one of the things that needs to change. I'm going down the comments. It says complete family includes the father. I'm not sure where that comment's coming from. If you're talking about single parenting, or I'm not sure where that comment's come from. Black people don't like to be. Okay, I've read that already. So I think Snuggles 668, if you can confirm. Okay, we got another comment here. It says, why is it that female physical education coaches for girls are always butch lesbians? Is that so? Yeah, maybe. It's probably generalizing a little bit. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I can answer that question. And does it matter? I think it's more about energy. If that female butch lesbian is positive and inspiring that person, I'm not sure it matters. I'm non-judgmental, by the way. I don't care, to be fair, about all of that. I know who I am, and I feel that people should learn and know who they are. And I think it's more about energy. So I think you need to dig deeper and go beyond that surface level and understand that there's a soul inside. And if she cares about young people, and she's going to leave that young person with that good feeling, that they've been inspired in a positive way, then I don't think it matters who's leading the session. That's how I would respond to that there, Garcia. I'm gonna go down the comments list. It's is that, I think you say Naima Saunders. It says, I know when I was in school, I had to educate myself. Very interesting. Yeah, there's levels to that. For instance, I did history at school, but I didn't do Black history. I didn't do African studies. We learnt about the World War. We learnt about the Russian Revolution and Europeanized history. So I left school still not fully understanding my history. I had to kind of do my own research and, learn from my family, learn through music, learn through, the media about my history. So you're right. And that's the bit I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. The curriculum needs to change. People should believe in educational institutions and feeling whole, or at least have a clear understanding about who they are. We're getting people go through school. Imagine you start school when you're 4 years old, 5 years old. You leave when you're 18. And when they're leaving when they're 18, they're still no closer to knowing who they are. They're still confused about what it is they want to do. And, it's quite often I'll say to a young person when they're 18, what do you want to do? And it's very often they say, I don't know. And I'm saying, but you've been all through the education system all those years, and you still don't know. That's that. I blame us for that. That's not their fault. That means we've done something wrong. They should know. How do you feel the school system affects the prison system? Very good question. A lot of our boys in the UK fall through the net. So by the time they're 13, 14, they start to get excluded from school. There's many reasons why that's happening. As I say, the curriculum's not engaging enough. There's not enough representations in the school. When I say representations, there's not enough black teachers, there's not enough men, there's not enough people in the school for them to look up to and respect and connect with. So they fall through the system and get excluded from these schools, which means that these boys are now on the road. Yeah. And what happens when they're left on the road? They start connecting with maybe gangs, or start looking at ways to make money, and obviously they don't have qualifications, so it's this slippery slope into the prison system, which you have to question whether that's by design, because we know that the prison system's a very business orientated organization. So prisoners are worth thousands of dollars, thousands of pounds. Without these people getting kicked out of school, how do we fund these prisons? So it begs to question, is this all conspiracy? Like, is there a percentage of people that need to fail to fund the prison system? And are we targeted as people of African heritage? Are we easy targets because of what I'm saying about us not knowing our identity, which is because that's not featured in the curriculum? We've not focused in on ensuring we know who we are, and that's because we're relying on a set of people to do that for us, and they're just not going to do that. So in response to your question, I think there's vital links. I think there is almost like a clear path that shows that actually failing school can potentially lead, or most likely lead, to you becoming prison bait, as we call it in the UK. Good question. I'm going to go further down the list and see if there's any other questions I can bounce off. Here we go. So we got Diamond Princess. What's this one? Make sure you leave a like, of course. Please, everybody, please like Courtney's channel. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, because she's giving people like me an opportunity to kind of expose what we do. And I'll repeat, my channel's called Mz.Roots Online Education Sessions. And at the moment, I've uploaded a course which is predominantly video presentations. The name of the course is called Ancient African History Studies. So that's the first course I've uploaded. It's, as I say, a series of presentations with worksheets that you can download for free. All the worksheets are within the description box. The idea is you download your worksheets and you go through the presentation. By the end of the presentation, you should be in a good position to complete the worksheets. There are 5 modules in total. It's for anybody that likes formal learning. It was really designed for people during quarantine. A lot of people are asking for some resources for their children, and I ended up just creating the YouTube channel and pointing everybody there. I created recently a puzzle book, African Studies, African History puzzle book. Again, you just go into the link, download, and it's all free. I enjoy creating resources, and the idea is that I'll be constantly uploading new courses, new resources for you to just access. So please go and take a look. The whole thing is edited and designed by myself. Share it, give feedback. The idea is that I want to create a learning community. So your feedback is vital, because I need to know what you would like next. So yeah, anything that's going to benefit our people, I'm willing to kind of zone in on that and create a resource for your children, or young people, or even yourselves. So go over to the channel and take a look. Here we go. It says, thank you for everything, Courtney. Give me the young people a chance to shine. Very impressive of you to do that. Absolutely. I'm gonna go down. I'm going to read a comment here by Donny Goes In. It says, self-hate is the curriculum of the Mzungu supremacy. We can't expect our oppressors to teach us anything but how to be a slave. Indeed. I couldn't have said that any better myself. Yeah, so we have to understand that slavery is not just a physical form of slavery. There's mental slavery also, and I feel that that's what the education system is currently guilty of. They they are in a way enslaving our minds by the curriculum that they're offering. There is no freedom in their curriculum, only oppression, only developing you to be a puppet within their system, which is merely to just generate capital. As we know, there's only 1 to 5% of people who benefit from this whole system. We are the generators. The power is not with us. So it is that time now for us to take back our power and understand that we are the power. And with a good education, you really can reach your potential, and a real level of freedom is what is out there if you know how to tap in. But you need that support, you need guidance. We need to know how to do that. So I love that comment there, Donny. That's very deep. I'm going to go down. Wisdom says, I never ever learn anything about myself and live at school. And all I learned from school was to be a slave. There you go. To other races. But everything I have gained so far was from live experience. Indeed, experience is key actually. Like, we learn from each other. So, for instance, what I've experienced, I can share with you guys, and you can learn from my experience. And experience is key, dialogue is key. So I like that, and I think that's something we can actually look at in fine detail as to how experience impacts a quality education. This is why things like apprenticeships work, because you're actually giving the young person an experience of that world. So there is a way that we can utilize that actually. And our ancestors knew that. Our ancestors were very in tune with knowing that experience was the key. Hence why, the elders were so respected in the community, because the elders would share their experience with the youngers, and the youngers would kind of be prepped as to what to avoid through the advice of the elders. So we've lost a lot of that. We kind of we keep going back to square one, and kind of go into this vicious circle of repeating mistakes of our elders, when really we're supposed to be building and learning from each other. I hope that makes sense. But I'll go back to formalized education. And as I say, in this type of society we live in, skills experience really works. So that's something we can look at, something we should be developing. I'm going to go down, see if there's anything else I can bounce off. So Courtney's actually saying, this is such an on-time topic. My son's former school just texted me. Well, I look forward to hearing about that in a bit more detail. Hopefully later on we can kind of have a conversation about that and share what's happened. yeah, any questions for me, please send them in. I'm going down. Yeah. To me, they fund the police, that they fund the prison system more than schools, because the prison system is based on profits. So schools are funded by, in the UK anyway, schools are funded by the taxpayer, hence why they're called public schools. So it's indirectly paid for by us, the community, whereas the prison system, they actually make profits. So it is funded differently, and I suppose there is more benefit from being in management positions in a prison system as opposed to a school system. Like, those governors and people in top level positions within the prison system get paid a really good salary. Each prisoner is worth thousands and thousands of pounds. I used to teach in a prison, incidentally. I taught in a prison for 3 years, in a male prison, 21-year-olds and older. And it really was like I had to keep a certain number of students in my class. So, for instance, the maximum number of students were 12, and I had to retain that number and get them through that program, which would last approximately 3 months. That retention there would release the funding, and that's what paid my salary and obviously provided the prison with all the resources for the prisoners to engage in the program. There's a thing here called bums on seats. So the retention was for me to keep bums on seats in the classroom. And, the meetings almost felt like I was in a sales job. Like, Miss Roots has managed to keep all 12 students in the classroom, and they've all completed their program. They've all managed to complete, that kind of jargon, as opposed to the prisoner has learned something new, that they're developing skills to be released from the system. So when they re-enter the community, they become law-abiding citizens, and their confidence is boosted. And it wasn't that talk, it was the other talk about how much money we've made and the retention, and yeah, let's get another load in now to generate and release some more funding. So indeed, the prison system is a business for sure. What's this one say? It says schools and school system in my area act like the Catholic Church by defending predators and moving them around to different schools and school districts. Does the same occur in the UK? We do have like a catchment area. So, for instance, we've got different areas in the UK where you've got working class people, and then you've got like upper class people. And the schools in the upper class areas are the best schools. Those are the schools where they're getting the best grades, and then they get access to the best universities. But you can only get into those schools if you live within that area. So, for instance, people like me, I come from a working class background. There's no way I'm going to get access to those schools when I was a student. Don't even try and apply for those schools, because my postcode, what you call a zip code, they're just going to look at that straight away and throw me in the waste paper basket. Like, just from the postcode alone, they've made a judgment that there's no way that I can enter into these schools in the upper class areas. I hope that makes sense. The Catholic Church as well. In the UK, the Catholic Church, the Catholic schools provide some of the best education here, what they call best. So, if you go to a Catholic school and you know, you get good grades, this is almost like a status thing. So, you know, when you're making your applications, they see what school you've attended, plus your grades. And again, this is a privilege. You know, this is an absolute privilege. But again, not a lot of us are going to these Catholic schools because, again, doesn't suit us. Like, we're not going to connect with that content, and it's too rigid. The systems are too rigid. So, yeah, that's again relating to the privilege spectrum. You know, when I talk about the spectrum of privilege, if you look at people who make up a community, you'll realize that some people have got more privilege than some. And when we look at that spectrum, for instance, the white man as opposed to the black man, who's going to get the better job, you know, who's higher up on the spectrum. So I hope I've answered your question there. I'm going to continue going down. Courtney, if you join me now, because I've been ranting on for nearly 40 minutes on my own, I need energy, sis. Give me some energy.
I am here. No, you're doing great. You're doing great. Everyone is super engaged.
I can't believe you've had me ranting on for 30 minutes. I don't think I've ever done that ever in my life. Do you know that? I don't know what's happened there. I don't know whether she's lost connection, but I'm gonna keep looking down the comment section, see if there's any questions that I've missed until sis comes back. Let me scroll down. I ask myself the question all the time. No, there's no more questions. Does anybody have any questions for me? Are you saying you don't like bouncing your ideas off people in the chat? No, I like that, but I like voice as well. I need conversation. Snuggles 668. So thank you actually, because I've been answering a lot of your comments. You've kept me going, like literally for half of this conversation. That's what's kept me going. So no, I'm not saying I don't like bouncing off people in the chat. I'm saying I need voice. I need conversation. I'm really not used to just ranting on, and you know, trying to make sure that I cover all bases. So I hope I haven't offended anybody by saying that. It's just a weird situation. I remember I started the actual interview, this actual opportunity here, by saying I am not used to, you know, this YouTube situation is new to me. I'm not used to the camera. I'm still learning. So that's why, yeah, I'm still developing my confidence, if you like, around being on YouTube. So I hope I didn't offend you, Snuggles 668, or anybody else. Yeah, somebody come and talk to me. You're right, says, well, maybe somebody in the chat will be brave enough to come and talk to you, because it seems like Courtney's signal is being held back by the opposition. That'd be good. Somebody's asking how old am I? How old do you think I am? I'll be intrigued. They say a lady never tells. So you tell me, how old do you think I am? That's men knowledge, men, Ned knowledge. Go on, throw it out there. How old do you think I am? I'll be intrigued to get some feedback. Oh, thank you. Somebody, Nima Saunders. I hope I'm saying that correct. You're saying I'm doing great. Thank you very much. You understand what I'm saying, right? It's a weird situation, just talking, you know. Thank you, Donny. Thank you. You're laughing at me, African Manelio. Don't laugh at me, sis. Can you come online and talk to me, please? It says, when a lady never tells, that's the beginning of the mindset of women lying. Snuggles 668. Nah, I wouldn't lie. I like that. But no lying round here. What's the point? What's the point? They say what's in the dark always comes to light. I'm too old for that. Yeah, I'll give you a hint. Sis Courtney,
Yes, can you hear me?
we can now.
Okay, I don't know why I went out, but I went out also on the laptop. Like I said, this is backup until I get my new equipment. But I don't know why I'm going out on the phone. That's super weird. But I was saying you're doing great. So don't worry too much. You're doing awesome. But
Okay.
I did want to really discuss why I particularly chose to homeschool my children. The reason why I want to just focus on that particularly is because I always tell my gliders and my glowers, and thank you everyone in the room. I see African Millennial has made an appearance, beautiful. Sir Senior is asking some awesome questions. Snuggles is doing what Snuggles does. So, please be aware. Um, but oh, the wrong link is in the chat. Oh, I'm sorry. That may explain some things. Oh, you know what? You are totally right. It is the link for tomorrow's business panel. Let me drop the right link. That explains a lot of things because I touched on that. Okay, so now let me put up the right one. I'm sorry, guys. But please come back for that panel tomorrow. The topic is doing better Black business, and we are going to be definitely unpacking and highlighting some things. But Miss Ruth, the reason why I decided to homeschool is because, not necessarily my daughter. My daughter was okay. She's about 18 months older than my son. She's in 8th grade this year. My son is in 6th. She was okay with the idea of homeschooling, not homeschooling, but virtual schooling. But my son absolutely had a really tough time with just not being able to engage with teachers and with other students and, following tasks. So he was having a hard time. So I said, well, maybe I can cater his curriculum to something that he would like. He likes anime. So, I like to focus on doing a whole lot more physical, outside and that sort of thing. But what I found is that even though he can see me trying to make the curriculum more about his interests, he is still having a hard time adjusting to the fact that it doesn't flow the way a natural school day flows. So how can I get him more adjusted to that? And again, he's 11 years old, very bright, but just the scheduling is off. And I would think that he would like the scheduling a little better. We start later, we start with pancakes as opposed to, the usual school day. But like even just now, he said, "Well, we don't have the same subjects that I had in school. So how can I get him to be a little bit more comfortable with that and kind of can see that this is something that can be fun for him if he kind of opens his mind a little bit more to it." So yeah, so I'm putting myself on mute this time, and we want to welcome Sir Senior to the panel. I'm sure he's going to have some great questions to weigh in with after you finish engaging with the question at hand. So looking very forward to it. Putting myself on mute. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I understand what's going on there because I actually homeschooled my son as well. So it's about totally reprogramming what your son considers to be normal, or he's got this mentality that school should be like this. Now you need to let him know that this is an opportunity for him to design his curriculum, and you bounce the ball back to him and ask him, well, what do you want to learn and how do you see your school day being? So he's got an opportunity now to really own the structure of his school day. So if he says he still wants to do maths and English, then you're going to have to make an effort and ensure that that's there, as well as the anime and all the other stuff that he's going to definitely want to be part of his curriculum. So with my son, I kind of, as I say, I asked him, well, what do you want to learn? Like, what are you interested in? And a lot of it for him was physical. Um, he wanted to be going to the gym. He wanted to learn how to fix cars. He was interested in construction, as well as he understood that it was important for him to develop his English and his maths and know a bit of science. So that all happened with just conversation, and not even formal, just conversations around dinner, conversations when you're driving in the car. You know what you're doing, you're extracting the information, but these conversations are subtle because they're young. So, you're extracting information, but they don't necessarily need to know what it is you're devising. So, from all this information you're extracting from him, you then come up with a structure, you then come up with a curriculum, and then put it to him. What time would you like to wake up in the morning? Like, what time's going to work? I mean, obviously, you're the adult, so everything within reason. Routine is crucial. It's important for him to see the morning, but it's also important for him to switch off at a certain time in the night. And also, education's not always that sit down in front of the desk and get paper out and formal. Education can be, as you say, making pancakes. You can be subtly embedding science within making pancakes, and he doesn't know, by thinking about temperature of the harbor. You're actually, when you're mixing up flour and eggs, that's actually a compound. You're making mixtures, and once you've put that mixture on the heat, it becomes a compound. So just by having clever conversations, indirectly your son will be learning. So it is literally a whole new way, and you have to just be conscious that um you know that you are trying to tick those boxes. I hope I'm making sense, Courtney. It's an opportunity now for him to really own what he wants to learn. I hope that
You
answers the question.
are. You're making great sense. And the thing about him is that he likes more structure, which is interesting. Whereas my daughter is more so kind of she's a little bit more going with the flow. She's a little bit more like me, but he's more like my ex-husband. They need a schedule, they need a structure. And I tell them, though, if you want to wake up earlier, you have to go to bed earlier because you need your rest. But I also tell them that if they're not up by 10, there's no pancakes. But like on today, and there was no school on Wednesday, so I still do follow some of the traditional, because that's what they're used to, the standard schedules.
Yeah.
Since there was no school Wednesday, we had no school Wednesday. But I did, I made them pancakes late today, and I told them, I said, you know what, I made you guys pancakes late today, but next week we're going to be right back onto the usual schedule. But I see Sir is on here, so I don't want to barge up too much of his time. But I was literally writing notes as you said, and just realizing that, yeah, even though he may say one thing, like you said, we're the parents here and the instructors at the same time. He also complains about me being the teacher and wearing pajamas. So I'm going to have to get on my full gear, my full gear, sis Roots. I'm gonna have to in the same way.
We're losing you a bit there, Courtney. You're breaking up.
Yeah, I think her internet kind of
Good
went out.
evening. Shall we have a conversation? Nice to meet you.
It's nice meeting you too.
How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Are
How
you
about
enjoying?
you?
I'm okay. As I was saying earlier, I don't know if you tuned in for the whole of the session, but yeah, that just me talking for so long on my own is very, very strange. So I am very happy to be having a conversation with you and Courtney.
I feel you. I feel you.
Okay.
I mean, that's the best way is just to think of it as you're just having a conversation. Um, that kind of gets rid of some of the, the performance anxiety. And like I
Yeah.
definitely agree with what you were saying because that's how I learned math and science was buying stuff and then cooking, you know. So that's how I learned math and science was doing things of that nature. So
Yeah.
that's definitely a great way. Like you said as well, structure for a man, especially a young man, is very important. And they're obviously going to lean to whatever they want, like anyone does. But you have to have that structure for them and showing them, telling them is very important. But also have to show, especially a male, like you have to show them, they have to see it. They have to see, like, you can tell them all the time to do something. But if they don't see, you know, it in real life, it kind of falls apart as soon as you walk away, unless they're very diligent on their own. They're going to fall back to what they've been doing.
Hmm. That's interesting. Really interesting. And I think because we haven't got much representations out there, for instance, black men in the classroom, that's why a lot of our black youngsters are falling through the net because I haven't got enough brothers like yourself to just kind of put them straight and let them know the realities. Like, I don't think that they respect the other races as much as they would respect their own, telling them that. Would you agree? Yes or no?
I would definitely agree with that. I would have to also add that a lot of the problem, that was kind of like where my questions were coming from to see your point of view. From my point of view, a lot of the problems come from us. A lot of times, as females, because I was raised by a single mother and with a bunch of women and things of that nature. But my mom made sure that I always had, positive and negative male role models.
Mm.
And until I got older, I didn't understand why it was so important to have even negative male role models. And now I do, is because once I saw what they did, if I quote unquote respected or liked them or not, I respected them as an adult and as a man, and or at least an adult male, in some situations. And I saw what they did and what was the outcome. And if you only see one side of it, you kind of get a jaded way of thinking. You say, well, they're just trying to tell me what to do. They're trying to boss me around. But one thing like my mom did for me, and it worked until, I started dating, um, was she took me and my brother when we were young. She took us down to the county jail and she talked to, a bunch of the officers and sergeants and everything else. And they talked to us a few minutes and we talked to police on a regular basis. So it wasn't a big thing talking to them. But what they did was they locked us in a cell and we didn't get in handcuffs, but we was actually in there a few minutes together and then a few minutes separate. And we saw how it felt to be in jail. And until I started dating, I never had the inkling to do anything that could land me in jail. Um, no matter how fun it seemed, no matter how many other people were doing it, I understood that being in jail was horrible because the first thing I did after I read the stuff on the walls and I looked at the fact, okay, I'm locked in here and I can't do anything, I looked outside And when I looked outside, I saw the whole world going on because you're downtown. I live, in Raleigh, in North Carolina. And I saw the whole world going on without me. And I was like, well, this is like time out, but way worse. So those types of things, I've always been big on my freedom and being able to, do things in a manner that I'm not stuck in something, because that's what freedom is understanding that you have to do something to make sure you stay free, but you also have to do something with that time. So that's a big thing that my mom did for us, was little things like that. She consistently showed us the good and the bad of something, and it allowed us to shape our own ideals. And it's kind of funny, like she used to dress us kind of preppy, like we was about to go play golf every day. And now I rather wear, a polo than just a regular t-shirt. Cause like when I was little, I hated it. He was like, "Oh, I'm not a teacher, or well, I'm dressed like a teacher, or something like that." But now, like that's what I choose. I'm looking in my closet right now, and it's like very little t-shirts at all. So it's those kind of things that we have to instill in our children, and not just our physical children. It's any child is willing to listen.
Yeah, I think you hit some pearls of wisdom there. We spoke earlier about learning from experience. So that's indirectly what your mom did. She gave you a taste, she gave you an experience that profoundly impacted you and ultimately made sure that you didn't make any choices that would lead you into prison. She gave you that taste. So you knew you didn't want that again. So learning from experience is powerful, and I think that, as I said earlier, I think that's what's missing from us as a people. We could actually zone in on that and make that an actual thing that's within the curriculum, that we ensure that experience is at the core, so that people then can make decisions as to what they want to do next. So yeah, I think that's an absolute science personally. And it works well with us. It works well, whether it be taster courses, or really develop the notion of apprenticeships, skills based learning, or the opposite side, like you said, like things that you don't want your children to be doing, give them a taste of that life, so that they don't go down that road, so that they have an understanding of what that can be like as well. Um, there used to be a thing in the UK where schools would give teenage girls life type dollies, babies to look after, to kind of deter them from teenage pregnancies. And there was lots of research done around that to give them an experience of having to look after a baby at a young age. And that worked really well as well. So that's what I'm talking about with regards to experience based learning. I think it's an absolute science that we could be zoning in on for sure.
Yeah, that's something like I really feel that is real important. Is we used to have home economics, and we used to have all these types of curriculums, and not just here in America but abroad, but they slowly but surely took all those things out. And it's like now people go through, as you said, school, and that takes you into your 17,
No.
18 years old, and now you don't have any real skills. Most people can't cook. Most people don't know how to balance a checkbook. They can't make a budget. They don't know how to really plan out their life or anything. All they know is get money and spend it. But most of the time they don't know what to spend money on. So they'll have, brand new shoes with no socks. So those types of things is like the things that we need to get back to is those basics.
For sure. And you have to ask yourself, why did they take away those programs? Because we know that they worked really, really well. So why is it that those programs disappeared? The people that have power, they don't do things randomly. They plan these things like years ahead. So there's a strategy as to why they took these programs away. So you have to ask yourself why. Is it because they built themselves up to a point where they were happy now and they've got enough people in the system to be generating capital, so now these programs are not so relative anymore? um I mean, I don't know the answer. I'm just throwing it out there. There's always reasons as to why things happen. So you have to ask yourself, why have we gone the more academic route? I do know in the UK now, though, there's this whole notion of us becoming self-sufficient, and stop relying on fossil fuels. So there's this whole drive now for engineers and people to be training into renewable energies and things like that. So they're now offering training programs and apprenticeships, etc., for people who would like to develop skills within that remit. So you see, they've opened it up there. They've opened it up again because they need people to train so that they know how to, produce these renewable energies. And I think in the next 10 years, they'll probably close it up again because they've got what they wanted. So we have to be reflective. And again, I think we have to know that we cannot rely on these people that are in power because it's to drive their agenda, not our agenda. So, although it looks like it's going to benefit us, and yes, you'll be able to get a good job at the end, ultimately, it's not designed for you, it's designed for the system. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, that's the biggest thing is you have to understand, you have to follow the money and realize like a few years ago they came out with solar energy, like to the public, not just solar energy period, but to the public. And they kind of poured water on those flames. And but now that they have commissions that they've set up and they've have companies that pretty much control, censor, manipulate the ability to use solar energy or the main things that you need to start, harnessing solar energy. Now they're allowing people to get back into it. It's kind of like there was a story a few years ago here where there was a guy who came from the service and he bought him a double or triple wide trailer and he made a solar energy panel. um and he also he that was what he did in the service was he was in making water and filtrating water. So he made one for himself. So he needed no electricity and he needed no water from the government. So he already paid for his home and his land. So he didn't need anything from anyone else. So what the government did was they came in and they condemned his home because he didn't have running utilities. So they always find a way to try to get you. So you have to always watch, what not just what they're showing you, but what the trick is.
Yeah, I agree. And this is where the whole notion of homeschooling can come into play, because that is the first step, or one of the first steps, to taking back your power and taking back control of what the young person that is being taught is being exposed to. and the young person, in fact, contributing to what it is they want to learn. They have a say. It's about nurturing their talents and nurturing their needs and what they want in life, and then you taking it. It's called child-centered or student-centered learning. It's an actual thing. There's an actual philosophy around student-centered learning where you listen to the student and you develop a curriculum around them,
Yeah.
you know.
Uh, Hi, Miss Roots. Hi, Courtney. Hi, Sir Senior. Hi, Chad. I've been
Hi,
listening.
sis.
Hello,
I've been
hello.
listening in. I didn't want to come in because I was like, I don't want to be that person. So I didn't want to come in. But the conversation was too good that I definitely just wanted to add my 2 cents into it. And I have to agree with what you were saying, Miss Roots. And um, if any of you guys know anything about me, I'm not even conscious. I wouldn't even consider myself conscious, but to other people, they think I'm conscious. But we really have to wake up, like for real, and we really have to stop expecting that other people do what's best for us. Even if you look at the history of education, education was never really meant to be, it was never really cultivated to be the way that it is right now. The whole history of education was, back in the days, all of us, we used to be farmers, right? Everybody was farming. That was agriculture. So school was basically a place where you'd bring your kids to babysit them. And then in the summer, that's why we have summer break. In the summer, what they would do is the kids would be used on the farms as farm hands. So school was never even meant to be something that you had to go to college in order to work. Back in the days, it was just something that was used to get your basic education, and then you would go to actually doing what you needed to do. Now, I'm not going to say that the education system is not important. I advocate for the education system. It's very it's a wonderful system, but at the end of the day, we have to also understand that ever since that time that I was talking about, the education system hasn't really advanced. It hasn't really improved. We're not really learning what we should be learning. Um, we are being programmed to be great zombies and great people who could work and take and take commandments, but we're not really focusing on learning other things that are as important as they say they are. And to also add another aspect to it, the people who are educating us, they are educating us in their own agenda, and that's great for them, but for us, it doesn't do much for us. And honestly, as anybody who is not, you don't have to be melanated, but someone who's not the majority, the education system isn't really meant to help you. You know what I mean? It's meant to help them, as Miss Roots said in the beginning of the whole chat. So the angle that I'm coming from in all of this is, I'm not angry because the education system is doing what it's meant to do. So you have to understand that you have to put the power into your own hands and see if it's not working for you, then you have to try something else. So you'll have some people say, well, homeschooling is this, homeschooling is that. And I completely understand. But at the same time, I think that if you want to do homeschooling, you should find a network. You should find a group of people who could help you. There are resources online, you know? So it's all about taking the actual steps and moving in that direction. It's not about sitting there and complaining about how it's so hard. It is hard, but the benefits outweigh the cons at the end of the day. Um, like I said, the system wasn't, it was never meant to benefit us, and we're not the ones that are calling the shots anyways. So if we complain about it, but we can't do anything about it because we're not, we're not heading and we're not writing these curriculums, we're not the CEOs, we're not the bosses, there's nothing that we could do. There's another community, it's the Jewish community, and they have their own system. Like, they have their own education, they have their own whatever they're doing, and that's what they think is beneficial to them. So I feel like more Black people, we should be doing that. And not just Black people, but people who aren't the majority, we all should be doing that.
Yeah, I think you just tapped into something there where you used the Jewish community as an example, and not just the Jewish community. If you look at some of the most successful communities, that it's because they've used their education institutions and also their religions as hubs to develop their young people and to develop their adults. I mean, ultimately, their places of worship and education systems cross over anyway. And this gives them a real sense of identity, which gives them this confidence, which gives them this sense of unity, which ultimately gives them this springboard to become successful. Just that level of confidence, from their structures of education. So we can learn a lot from these communities, to be fair. In the UK, we have successful Muslim communities,
Yeah.
and Asian communities that do very similar things, where they have their own school system. And again, it's tied with the mosque, and these people are leaving school so confident. They know who they are. They're told in their schools that they're destined for greatness, and
And
that their
not to cut you
communities
off,
rely
Miss
on
Root. Oh no, continue.
them. No, it's okay. I'm just saying it's the rhetoric, isn't it? It's what they're told in schools.
Yeah.
If you're told you're gonna be great, you're gonna be a success, you're destined for, success, etc., then these words, literally, they're vibrations. They're gonna resonate with the young people. Whereas in mainstream schools, the rhetoric's not like that. So as I say, I think we can learn from these community-based education systems. Yeah, so I'll put myself back on pause so you can continue, sis.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that I agree with you. That's really something that a lot of kids aren't really hearing. They're not hearing that they're awesome people and that they're wonderful people, and they're not hearing that from people who look like them as well. And um, that's definitely something that's missing. And we can go into the reasons as to why that's not happening. I will not do that on this live stream. However, I mean, if you don't have people who look like you, um, in schools telling you that you're wonderful and that you're amazing, that where you come from is wonderful and amazing, then obviously that's going to mess with your self-esteem. And we know the ages where kids are most vulnerable are in their early teens. If you don't catch them then, when it gets to their late teens, they're already downhill. Like, you can't catch them for the most part. When they're 18, 19, they're already in that life. So this really has to start from when they're really young, you know. And I feel like a lot of parents look at their kids when they're 15, 16. Okay, let me start now. And it's like, okay, you can start now, but you should have done that a little bit earlier. You should have been on it, on it, on it from jump, not when they get to teenage years, because those are the most formative years. And those are the years when they're also being influenced the most. We've all been teenagers, so I don't think I'm saying anything that's a foreign concept. But yeah, I'm going to pause right now and let the other person who just came in share their thoughts.
Hi, family. How you guys doing? This is Tan John. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sis.
Oh,
Hi.
hi.
Yes,
How are
we hear you. Great.
you? um, I'm glad I'm in that panel. This is a very good discussion. Yes, I want to chime in on this because it's very, very important when it comes to our children and what's happening. I've was talking to a couple of the families on here, and I wanted to say this. you know, it's not all the time teenagers are wilding out. It's where our environment is and where families see, you know, the family look at the system as the savior all the time. Our people do that. And I know you're in the UK, sis, but we're in America, it's very, very difficult and it's very hard. And we've been trying to tell people from different parts of the country, especially Black families from the different parts of the country, from diaspora to Europe. And we try to tell y'all it's not the same, because sometimes you guys make it seem like this is so simple for us and how we raise our children, how we see our children. If you don't do it this way, this is the way it's supposed to be done. But ma'am, this is not how it goes. When we were coming up, and I'm from San Francisco, California, I'm from the Bay Area. We did come up with families and we taking care of the families. We lived in 4-bedroom apartments. In the beginning, we had homes, we had houses, and then we were gentrified out of that. They lied to us and told us, I'm telling you, our babies were raised a lot better. We had our home, and then the campus people came knocking on the doors and they lied to us. And well, they lied to our elders and told them that there was something wrong with the walls, there was something wrong with the floors, and they moved them out because they signed the forms for $40,000. Everybody got $40,000 a piece. Okay, this was a trap. They moved them out of their homes that they owned, Baker Street and everything, the business there. They moved them out of their homes and put them in complexes and projects. Okay. And back in the mid 60s, early 70s, they took them out and moved them into projects. And then Black people started complaining about, okay, well, why are we paying this thing called rent? What is rent? Why are we paying $300 something when we didn't have to pay this at the home we live in? We paid PG&E and GE. We paid this, and you know, it kind of trickle down to, okay, let's tell these Negroes to shut up. Let's give them this thing called Section 8 and tell them that their rent is $79, then they're shut up. Because if they could get a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom apartment complex and we take their homes that they own for $73, $79 a month, then they won't talk as much. And that's what happened. We fell for the bait all the time because we felt like they know what's best, or our relatives felt like they knew what was best, right? Then we went from the schools that they were going to that they were able to go to, as now they put them in these public schools. And in these public schools, the kids were infected by a lot of things. You had a lot of white teachers. They were telling us what we can and cannot do. We had to sit on the floors. In Pacifica, my brother and I had to sit on the floors. Okay, while the white children get to sit at the desk and at the table and eat. And we didn't know what that meant. We just knew why do Black children who go to these schools in Pacifica have to sit on the floor? You know, so we are infected by a whole bunch of things. You tell your parents that, then we get in trouble about it because either they were scared of the system, they were scared to approach these white folks, or it was just the fact that, well, they got their credentials, they got their degrees, they know what they're doing, they know what to do, and you just a child, you don't know. And see, now we're getting attacked and we're getting the stress. And what I'm trying to say is it was a lot of stress that built up over time amongst our families, and we did stick together the best way we knew how. You know, when people lost their jobs, you know what we did in the summer? We made ices. We had the chicken house, where you go and get a chicken plate at Mobel's house or Aunt B's house. You had the icy house, you had the candy house, that's how they was making their money. And then all of a sudden, you still had the house calls, social workers coming to the house, you know, your mama may get into it with the next door neighbor mama. And then she calls the system because she's assuming you got welfare, and you probably do have welfare. You were trying to live off what was best for you off that welfare to take care of your babies, because you know welfare wasn't doing nothing for you. So for these brothers to sit there and say the government system, the Black women government is their daddy, no, they were not. Or we don't know what our great grandmothers thought doing that, trying to get us a home and get them out the ghetto. That's the reason why they took that payout, because they didn't want to be in the ghetto. But I digress. What I'm saying to you is, when them social workers who used to do house calls come up in your home and show up surprisingly, that's when you start realizing Oh shoot, I gotta hide this microwave I gotta hide, I gotta cover the couch with blankets. I can't let them know we're living okay, because if they find out, they're gonna take our kids from us. See, we went through this stuff. You got a lot of single today, you have a lot of single mothers who are white in the Bay Area. A lot of them. And guess what? They don't get that same harassment as the black mothers do. Kamala Harris made sure that those black mothers didn't have their children and they get put in jail, let them kids miss school or miss a class. So a lot of stuff comes with it. It has nothing to do with if black people did this right. The only thing I blame us is we had we were open to a lot of things, to what people want to give us. They want to dictate and tell us what they think is best for us. And we got to stop letting these foreign people tell black people who built this country off of blood and tears and all kinds of abuse. We were mentally abused. We need to stop accepting any more abuse from any of these people. We just got to stop doing that, because guess what? Our kids feel like you're a failure. That spirit trickles down to your kids. And when you sit there and I give you one prime example, because I don't want to go and rant too much. I was at Trader Joe's. I'm in Nevada, and I was at Trader Joe's a couple of weeks ago. And my little boy, he's 2, and we was at the line. We were checking out, and my son, me mugged a white cashier worker, and then a bagger, which was a white woman. She points her finger. Now, I didn't see this until at the last minute. This is what I'm gonna show you exactly how affected we were. She points her finger at my 2-year-old little son, and she tells him, no, we're not doing this today. Now, do you understand? We're not doing this today. And I was like, well, what did my son do? So my son starts crying, and it just caught me for a shock. And instead of me saying, nah, little witch, you need to talk to me, don't ever come at my son like that. You know what I'm saying? It was like, I'm in Nevada. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and we're in the middle of an election. People are upset. This is a Trump state. I don't know. I just looked at my son. I said, baby, I'm so sorry. That's a mean ass lady. That's a mean, miserable woman. And I said it right in front of her. But I wouldn't look at her in her face. And it's like, dang, what is the problem? Normally I would clown a witch. But basically, it's like, we feel like we're so afraid of these people. And it's like, dude, I need to stop being afraid of these people. What can you do to me? I'm protecting my son. And the best thing I ever did was not just walk away. I says, if I walk away, I'm going to walk out as a punk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to the supervisor. And I told the supervisor, please train your white women up in this store to never, ever discipline anybody's black children. Ever. And I thank every black woman and single moms, because they think they can do whatever they want to us because we're single mothers, or they're assuming that we're single mothers. They think they can do this to us. They don't know if the father of our children has passed away. They don't know if the father of our children is locked up. They don't know if the father of our children is just at work and we're married. They don't know this. They just assume you see a black woman with a child and no man next to her, that she's a single mother and she knows no better. So, and our kids feel that. My daughter was a teenager. She went through it because of the environment. We've been through all kinds of abuses. And my daughter watched this like, Mom, you just letting people do stuff to me. I don't even want to be here. You're not strong enough. We didn't have our village anymore. And then when you try to tell your child what's what and train them to be the right way, what happens? You got your own relatives telling you being too hard on the kid. Don't be talking to him like that. Don't be talking to her like that. And it's like, dude, compared to what you did to us when we were coming up, we wouldn't dare talk back to you the way you're coming at us. And when we have children, you're gonna tell us how to be parents, and you work terrible as a parent. So we got these. It's a mental aspect of it, and I would like to get your take on that, because for me, from my experience, I'm listening to what people say. It's not that simple. This ain't science experiment. This is life. So
that is such a, can everybody hear me? Because I wanted to really applaud Tanjon for sharing that. because I literally had a similar situation like that happen to me at a farmer's market that I worked. I'm a vendor, and I was vending, and my daughter was she ended up, she was sick that day, so she was sitting. She wasn't as up as she usually is. And if anybody knows me, I'm short, but my daughter is tall, honey. She is a power. She's a force. But she was sitting that day because she was sick. And what happened was the farmer market's the farmer market owner, his girlfriend slash wife, got into an argument with the booth managers of where my daughter was sitting, because I was next to another booth, and we were, we were having a really good discussion throughout the day. So, but she got into an argument with the other booth owners, and my daughter said, "Hey, that's not true." Now my daughter was sitting, and my daughter is 13. She was 11 at the time. But like I said, my daughter is a very tall, she's very tall for her age. But she was sitting, but she said, "That's not true. That's not what the lady said. Why are you saying that to her?" And the not the manager's girlfriend, who was already out of line, but the manager's girlfriend's friend comes out of nowhere and points to my daughter and says, don't talk back to adults." I said, "Excuse me, who do you?" And mind you, I was an elected official, a councilwoman in this community. And I said, "Who do you think you are, where I'm standing here? This girl is sitting down. My daughter is sitting down and sick. But you think you're gonna talk to her like that in front of me, the obvious mother?" And I said, "Don't you ever talk to her." I said, "If you have a problem with my daughter, you talk to me. I'm an adult. Don't you ever talk to her like that." And then I looked at the manager, who, as you said, we already know what the complexion was. And I looked at the manager and I said, I'm a councilwoman here in this community. You know, you have to run permits to even have a farmer's market. Don't you dare have this woman or any woman talking to any booth manager. And especially, she's not even, it's no part in this. She is someone that comes, she's a patron. She's a customer. She has no right to even infringe herself in any of these conversations regarding any of it. And I just find you were so spot on, Tanjon. It is um a real energy that they think they can handle us any type of way. And mind you, we send our children to these schools to continue to be handled. And that's why I think that this topic is so spot on. I think everyone for sticking around. I think everyone for really being engaged in this conversation. Thank you also earlier for your comments, African millennial. But these are just really spot on observations, because it is a trickle down. It really is. It really is. And Tanjon, like you said, you end up getting in arguments with your own family. Because me as well, most pushback about homeschooling my kids are my sisters. They kind of had a family meeting without me a couple of weeks ago, and they said, you need to be getting these kids in school. Now, mind you, I'm very, I'm very equipped. I write curriculum. And not only do I write curriculum, but I also am very resourceful about, presenting well-rounded curriculum, because that's the reason also too why I was very interested in conversing with you beyond the boards, Mz.Roots, because of that same energy is what I put forward when I'm working with youth and organizations developing curriculum. I find other different curriculum to kind of well-round things. I used to be an education coordinator for Miracle Mile Theater in Miami, Florida. So, I've always had that knack, as we all have, because, my parents were both teachers prior to becoming social workers. My grandmother was a principal over in San Francisco, as a matter of fact, Tanjon. She was a principal at Alamo
Wow.
Park High School before
Okay.
that changed to Ida B. Wells. But absolutely. So, the fact that even my own family has been the hardest on me in regards to what do you think you're doing? Why would you do that? They need to be in school. And I'm just like, wow, we really don't get it. As Dr. Melina said, we really need to wake up because it's not a system that was put for us. And as Tan John
Yes.
said, what's happening is we're being conditioned to to comply. We're being
Yes.
conditioned to submit. That's
Yes.
what we're being conditioned to do when we're in the school system. And so, I am, as African Millennial just said, I am searching for those networks. But remember, Miss Roots, when we started the conversation, that's what I told you was kind of hardest for me to that the thing that has been hardest for me to take in is the fact that we have all of these quote unquote woke people here in Atlanta, Georgia. And when I tell people I am homeschooling, they're like, oh, like, nah. And I'm like, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Like, that would make the most sense, right? And they're like, no, I gotta figure out how to get, no, my school is letting them go back these days of the week, and then these
I,
other days of the week I'm putting them in this program. And so I'm just like, wow, like you're doing everything you can to kind of avoid homeschooling,
you know
whereas
what? You
that
know
should be
what?
a natural option.
I would like to add to that.
Please
Part of
do.
that, I'm gonna tell you what's part of that. Part of that is a lot of our parents are mentally lazy. Another part of our families is they are scared that they may do something wrong by trying to teach their kids at home. Some have excuses, nothing but excuses of why they can't homeschool the kids because they don't want the kids in the house. They don't want to see the kids. And then you hear this mental thing, oh, my kids get on my nerves. My kids get on my nerves. Well, mine don't get on mine. I don't trust no one but my kids. And I'll tell you one thing, that's a trip that you said that because take it back. I had a bad experience in elementary school. Me and my brother had bad experience coming up when we were in elementary school. I sat there and watched my brother, and I still want to talk about that. I think that need to be put out there. That Pacifica, the city of Pacifica, the schools, the school district, they need to be sued for racial conduct against me and my brother. My brother and my brother was hung upside down on a tetherball string and was whipped with a police officer handcuffed my brother, and then I had to sit on the floor and watch my brother get his ass whooped, hanging upside down from his feet, wrapped around a tetherball string. And because my mother gave them the go ahead to discipline my brother, but she did not know how they were disciplining my brother. Matter of fact, I had a mental block. I don't even know what happened after the fact. I don't know if I told my mother this and see what she reacted towards that. For some reason, my brother feelings was hurt, and I had to look back at that because I was part of the guilty party. I was sitting up there thinking, well, and I was a kid too, so I didn't know any better. But I felt like when my brother was trying to tell a story, she read a book. The book was called The Egg and the Golden Goose, whatever. I remember that. She read the book. Then she would ask the kids questions. They raised their hands and said, ooh, ooh, ooh. My brother said, ooh, 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 too. And she ignored my brother, but he wanted to let you know he know the answers to the book that you read. And you got very irritated because this young melanated male child wanted to answer that question. And it's just to the point where she picks me up and she takes me to the desk. I'm gonna tell you how they play girls against boys, because it dawned on me what Kamala Harris and them is doing. They trying to play black women against black men, and she's not even black. Okay, not by even a hair. She's not even black. She doesn't even have nappy hair. I'm digressing again, but let me go back. So she calls my brother throws a tantrum because his feelings was hurt. But according to these people, he was out of control, like they were doing to these black babies in these public schools. Okay, they kept on attacking our babies and making it seem like they're being out of control, bringing police officers to the schools. That was nothing new. That stuff happened in the early 80s to us. So for them to continue to do that, it's like, you know, all this scared straight and having this authority against black children, and the parents is allowing this shit at the same, excuse my French, at the same time, you're acting like you can't homeschool your kids to keep them safe. I thought put my daughter in a private school was a lot better. And it was. You know what I'm saying? It was to an extent, as far as intellectually, it was the better choice for me. She went to Cornerstone Academy, where it came out speaking Mandarin and Cantonese, reading, writing Chinese language. She took the MAP test, became one of she became one of the highest scores ever. They had her on the Carpe Diem Award, so she did well. But when she went to Woodland School, which was in San Mateo County, Silicon Valley, did you know that they try to degrade my daughter because they saw me? They didn't know what my daughter was. Oh, she looked pretty. She could have been Hispanic or something. No, she's just black and Filipino. And they looked at me and they saw my daughter as, oh, she's one of the niggers' child. And they treated my daughter with less respect. They try to make her lower than what she was. And I saw it coming. And when I seen it coming, again, it goes back into cowarding out. Because when they try to do my daughter as far as her grades and everything, try to make her seem like she's not as smart as you thought she was, when I came up to that school to put them in their place, the first thing they told me is, well, I'm not going to give them F's because she got an F or she got an F for doing all the goddamn work. Y'all parents, these white parents told their kids and told my daughter, I'm sorry, she has piano practice. She has horseback riding. And they decided they didn't want to play with my daughter all of a sudden. And my daughter did all the work, being up 2 o'clock in the freaking morning doing projects, mission projects, all these different projects that she's supposed to have 2 other people working with her on. And she gets an F for doing all the work and so-called didn't give them a chance. I'm showing you how racist white supremacy works, even in a private school. So yes, homeschooling is a lot better. Because when I went up to that school and told them what they did was wrong, and my daughter should not get an F for the work that she did, the school that she come from, not through the name face, she came from Chinese private school. If any of the school that she come from, the school that she came from, if she did all the work and her workmates didn't help her, they got Fs. She got their A's. That's how it works with the Chinese private school. That's what they did. My daughter got an A. The other 2 little Chinese kids who didn't help, didn't want to help, they got an F because you were supposed to help your teammate. She did all the work. So you got Fs. You don't get to make this up. Okay? Well, the white teacher thinks the opposite. You did all the work. Therefore, we have to give you an F because you didn't give them the chance. That's how they work. And that's why I don't believe integrating our black babies in these schools ever again. And my daughter, she was so upset with me because she said, I'm making it a race thing. It was a race thing, but you're not looking at them as targeting you, daughter. You're looking at me as though I'm being their aggressor. And this is where I'm saying this here, this is evilness. This is, I don't know if it's witchcraft. I don't know what it is. It's evil. And I think our babies need to go to a school like the Ziax Institute is a wonderful homeschool by Q Butter. If those who don't know who Q Butter is, look up Q Butter. He kicks ass. He does the black power style. Homeschooling. I think we need to reevaluate what we do as parents. I think we need to get our asses up and start buying 5 years worth of supplies for our kids. I don't care if you got to go to the Dollar Tree. And we need to start telling our babies what we need to do. And then I'm gonna say this: I'm a mother, a single mom with a son. I'm gonna tell you what I'm not gonna do. I'm not scared straight my son. My son need to be exposed to something way different than, they could put your black ass in jail. Nah, I'm not gonna down someone who did that because they thought that was the best thing to get them to not be in trouble. But all you're doing is doing what they want you to do. That they want you to think that, police officer look at your sons. Yeah, that's the one I'm going to arrest 10 years from now. How about that? How about looking at it like that? Like, dude, I'm finna let my kid go see the White House. So when he gets older, that's what he may want to be. He may want to be the president of the United States. I wouldn't want my son being that, but maybe we could do something that's a start, because we got to stop degrading our sons. You have a lot of single white and Asian mothers with raising children. Some of them are half black. They ain't got their daddies in the house. And let me tell you something. They're never going to put their Asian little boys up in a jail and let them spend a night in a prison cell and talk to the police. They don't even let their kids talk to the police. They tell them they can be the police. So these are just things that we got to stop freaking doing? Stop thinking like some damn slaves and quit being scared of these goddamn white folks. I'm sick of these white folks, and I ain't being hateful. I'm just loving my people more, and I think I'm more upset because we're not allowing ourselves to say we ain't got to answer to you. Like they trying to do this stuff right now with Kamala Harris. She didn't like you. She tried to make it where black women did the thing, black girl rock, because she's trying to make black women hate black men because she's not black herself. Her mother's from India. Her father's a white Jamaican, okay? A slave owner of a plantation. Please look this up so we can stop saying Kamala Harris is black. She's nowhere near us. That's why she doesn't have our talking points. She feels absolutely nothing about us. When you want her to feel sorry for anybody black, she look at you with this, what? What? Just this look like what it's like, and then she thinking dancing to Cardi B was gonna work. And she got her little white co-workers, not her HBCU co-workers, because she didn't like them witches and they didn't like her neither. But because of the presidency, all of a sudden they got the bag. So now they want to pretend like she's black. Now she went to school to flunk black, this dark-skinned Rachel Dolezal wannabe. Okay? She went to HBCU to study black, to just to sleep her way out of it, to flunk black. And I don't know why people are so color struck and want these people to be something they're not. You tell me what Indians from India always respected black folks, or even respect black folks, not a little bit, even one respect for black folks. I'll wait. Because at the end of the day, Miss Gupta is going to be the president, not Joe Biden. She's going to take over. Joe Biden already looked like he about to croak. At the end of the day, she's going to make those policies again. And the policy is going to be targeting black babies. What she did was she locked up a lot of mothers just as much as she did them fathers. And then she took the kids away. So that's what makes it worse. That's why I try to tell CR00. I try to tell my brother, we get it the worst. So the brothers think they get it the worst because they get pieces of papers that's threatening them with a piece of paper. And then they got to show up to court. But see, you ain't give birth to them babies. Imagine you, the mother, and you had those babies, and you was a single mom, and you thought, okay, I got child support from a baby father because he don't want to take care of the babies. Not because I just want to put child support on them. No, he's not taking care of the babies. Let's talk about the ones who didn't want to take care of the kids. He want to run around and be the next broad. Okay, just say like that. Just put it that way, hypothetically. Okay. Now your daughter or your son grows up and he's acting a damn fool. You ain't thinking about the baby father. You was trying because you're mad at him, whatever the heck. But now your kid acting a goddamn fool in school, or you got the white teachers in their ears telling them what you want them to tell them, and then CPS getting involved. You know how bad the mamas go through it. Some of the mothers commit suicide because of this. I almost committed suicide. Yes, I had to pay child support for my daughter because my daughter was in a situation in a public school that was mixed with white folks. Many white folks. She was in Woodland School. Look it up. A lot of these white kids don't have to learn shit. They're not smart. They're dumb as a box of rocks. Okay, but let me not digress. I've watched them. I watched the parents do that homework for them, but they tell them straight up. They say, listen. You got to attend court because your daughter's in the system because she doesn't feel safe. Well, they're telling you that your child said that, but your child didn't say that. Your child is telling you, Mama, I didn't say that. I know I ran away from home. I know I fought you, Mom. I know I wasn't coming home. I know you caught me doing things and then you whooped me for it. And then I was so upset with you. I went to my counselor to talk to her, but I didn't know that I was going to be in foster care. Okay, so now she's in foster freaking care. And now I'm upset because I'm in the middle of all this stuff. The mothers go through it the worst because they look at you like you're the worst mom on the face of this planet. We gave you the child to take care of, and you can't even do that. Look at your child. She's out there messing around with other boys. She's out there doing this. She's out there. And that's what I like because I get to take her from you. I get to take him from you. And guess what? We're going to charge you child support. And they don't give a hell if you're getting unemployment or if you lost your job or your Section 8 voucher went up. They don't care about that. They look at the mother. She got to face that child. You don't got to face that father. She got to face that child. And while the Judge over here talking about what drugs did you get her? Okay, good. She's on that. Let's subscribe that to her. But what if the mama say, I don't let my kid take drugs? Oh, it's out of your hands. It's out of your hands. And then you got to pay child support. Well, daughter, did you tell the people that you needed money? Because I gave you money. I give you allowance all the time. I didn't tell them that. Then they tell you that you got to go in order to get your daughter back in the home. You got to drive all the way 2 or 3 hours from where you live if you got gas money. And don't miss that appointment neither to go and see your child and talk to your child. I need to know what father go through that. All you get is a piece of paper and some irritations by your baby mama that you don't like. Now, I'm not talking about you per se, brother. I'm talking about a lot of
you said
brothers.
what father? I ain't mean to interrupt, but I'm saying you said what father. I know that I went through that and more, and I wasn't the only one. There are lots of fathers who, or dads.
I'm talking about deadbeats. I'm talking about
who
deadbeats.
are deadbeats,
I'm
but there's
talking
a
about
lot of
deadbeats.
women who do the same. But
I've
at the
seen a
end of
lot
the
of
day, we
deadbeats
can't talk
who
about or focus on the ones who are not doing. We have to
what I'm
focus on
saying
the
to you
ones
is
who
I've
are
seen a
willing
lot,
to do,
but
because we can't
let me
change
explain.
anyone's mind. We
No,
can
no.
only
What I'm
change
saying is
ourselves.
I've seen a lot of deadbeats complaining. They never said that. And I try to tell them, listen, when you give birth to that baby, they always want to act like they put you high up, but they ain't got no respect for the black woman. They go through it just as bad as the brothers. I'm not talking about the good fathers. I'm not talking about the ones who are there trying to take care of those babies because the mother don't want to be a freaking mother. I'm not talking about that last lane. I'm not talking about her. I'm talking because she's irrelevant. She's actually what makes it all bad, and that's who Kamala Harris represents. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the ones who goes around and get on this YouTube channel, and I'm listening to them constantly sit there. Yeah, man. Well, she put me on child support. She put me on child. Okay, but dude, listen to your tone. You already talking about I got 4 or 5 different exes, and I ain't never been through this except for her. I mean, this it has nothing to do with, dude, the judge been attacking me. The mothers go through it because she gave birth and held that baby, nurse fed that baby. Did you nurse fed your baby? No. What I'm saying to you, you got to realize we sang to baby, we nurture that babies. We have a whole emotional attachment to those babies. So when our kids are taken away from us, and then we're told we're the worst moms on the face of this planet, and then you attack us, they don't even care we give them babies allowances. They don't even care. And they sit there and they treat us like we're slaves. And if we say one word out of line in court, they will handcuff us. And we have never been in jail in our life. But since they see that on record, see, I sat there and I experienced that. And I want to commit suicide. There's plenty of moms who sat there and killed themselves because of this. They felt like they did something wrong because mentally we had to accept that. Nobody was there for us. Then you got your neighbors. Our village is gone. Our village told us, well, shit, she over here going through shit. She lost her kids. What happened to y'all? Said, my little nephew, even if it ain't your nephew, can't go in the system. Nah, that's okay. I got my nephew. And look at her and say, get your shit together. I don't know what happened, but get your shit together. And when you're ready, then your son will be ready for you, or your daughter be ready for you. You know what I'm saying? It's that simple, but we don't have that. That's why you got a lot of mothers killing their children as well, because they didn't have any body there for them. They didn't have anyone there for them, not even the fathers. The fathers just up and left because he's too comfortable playing his PlayStation, being with the next bride. I'm not talking about the good fathers. I'm not talking, and I give kudos to you and those who were there for their babies, but it's not enough of you. And it's not enough of y'all coming out there saying, hey, sister, I'm with you on this. I'm with you on this because I've seen deadbeat niggas out there, man. I be wanting to punch them in their face. Y'all could see too often. Here we go with this divide thing. You think that the woman is attacking you as well. And it's like, nah, I see what you talking about. You talking about them deadbeats who ain't there for their kids. That's why our kids go through the shit they go through. Then you got someone that says, man, I ain't in that. I can't get up in that though. You know what I'm saying? She chose to have that baby. Dude, where's your strength? Where's that power? And it's like, nah, man, I don't like that, man. I want to be the mentor for that child. I don't care if it ain't mine. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got to sleep with her. I just want to make sure that baby grow up and have a better opportunity, even if it just means me. If he ain't got both his parents, man, he can always come to me and my wife, or he can always come to me and my girl. You know what I'm saying? And I feed him, man. He get to play with my kids, man. We straight. I'm not finna I'm not finna sit there and let these kids astray. Look at all these kids getting killed right now. Look at all these babies getting killed. And they always got to be the black ones. So I'm not trying to hear all this other stuff. I just think brothers need to start counting other brothers. It shouldn't take me to sit there and say that, and then I got to explain and then recamp and say, nah, I'm talking about this. I need my brothers to say, dude, I don't appreciate that shit. I know that shit be happening. And then y'all sit there and you leave a mama's by herself to raise and fend for herself with these babies. That's the reason why all these different races don't respect the black woman, because he know you ain't finna come up and do nothing. They know you're not finna step up and do a darn thing. And so I need my brothers to step up and say, that's the first thing we need to work on. I need black men to start going after the dudes and say, nigga, be a man and stop acting stupid. You know what I'm saying? You got kids. Why you ain't doing your kids? And if he look like he don't really want them kids in the first place, never mind, because you may kill them babies just because you didn't want that baby. Never mind. That's my little nephew. That's my little cousin. I got him. I got her. I'm a protector. You know what I'm saying? She finna be my goddaughter now. F that. Forget that. Until we get that, it's gonna always be this black men go through it worse than black women. I know. Stop doing that. See, that's what happens. I'm telling you something. I was raised by both my mother and my father. But my father, when he left the home, he didn't give up on us. He didn't leave us. So I'm a little bit more about my balance. I don't believe in this shit about I was raised by my mama. Then all of a sudden you think you right all the time. Well, the women always think she right all the time and she not. That's why I sit and listen and be quiet. And I'm not a feminist. I don't care for the femmes. I'm sorry. Love my black men. But we have to get that shit together. Because I don't believe in this divide shit. I hate this. I seen it coming in the mid-90s. I saw it coming. I saw it with the R&B songs. I saw that shit coming. I saw it coming where black women was starting to say shit like, ain't nothing going on but the rent. Why you gotta say that to the brother? What happens? White men don't want to give him a job. Well, so what the hell? You know what I'm saying? Why you gotta say that to him? Oh, thanks for my child. Okay, so now the song, thanks for my child. Okay, so now the brother just, pumped you a baby and then just up and just left you. And some of the brothers fall for that shit. Then you got a whole bunch of songs anti-black women. Brothers are living off that fantasy. Anti-black women this, anti-black women that. And I ain't seeing no brother stepping up and saying, nigga, that's some bitch shit. Excuse my French. That's some B crap. I ain't rocking with you. Cause see, you on that effery, man. I love my black women. I ain't got no reason to be dating out my race. That's nasty. Meanwhile, you got white women talking about she wants to keep her genealogy alive, so she needs a black man to do it because a white man ain't gonna do. But she don't love you for you. Y'all make this make sense. They're bold about it. No respect for black men. Black men don't find it disrespectful. I think he should start making it disrespectful. Black woman can't ask you to help pay rent. That's disrespectful. But a white woman can say, "I just want your baby. I just want your sperm," and you think that's an honor. I don't know that. All you doing is making white babies. So it's and so I just think real brothers like you should start telling these other brothers, dude, this is why sisters talk, because you're embarrassing us. You're embarrassing us. Don't hang around me. And I don't need my son knowing who you are, nigga. Stay away from us right now. Get your shit together, bro. You embarrassing us. That ain't how we come together. And sisters need to start telling other sisters, dude, quit caping for these simps, because all they want you for is panties. Quit doing that. Quit caping for them. I don't like that neither. Because see, all this stuff ain't. Because guess what it's doing? All this divide is leaving out the babies, and nobody's thinking about the babies. It ain't even about the babies no more. It's about what you want, what she want. And Kamala Harris is good for that. I just want y'all to know that. Just think about it. Here's an Indian woman coming up in that office, a South Asian vice president. She let white folks call her black. She ain't tripping off that. A black person call her black. She look at you like you crazy and tell you, I'm not black. I'm Asian and Jamaican. And then people automatically assume when she say Jamaican, that means black. Nah, dumbass. There's Chinese Jamaican. There's Jamaicanese. There's white Jamaicans everywhere. Coolie Jamaicans all over the place. Her father's a Coolie Jamaican. He owned slaves, sugar plantation. His father owned slaves from Canada. So, listen, I could go on and on and on. I'm just saying, I think we got to focus more on our kids and us coming together and understand where the problem at. I don't have a problem telling the sister where she out of line and how she coming at these brothers, especially the good ones. Because even when she starts saying this, that, I'm going to always say, well, what about the good brothers? Don't nobody want to represent the brothers. What about the good black men? My daddy was a good black man. My daddy was a good black man. I love my daddy, and I hate that I lost him. So no, I don't believe in, I even told my daughter, we not feminists over here. Anything happen to your brother, you better have your brother back, for real. Anything happen to your brother, any female, any T class come at your brother, you better be prepared to ball your fists up and protect your brothers. They got to go through that real woman to get to that black man. So, you know, and she got that mentality right now. So I'm proud of my daughter, even though we had it hard, we had it rough, and she realized she was lied to all the time. And I fought, but you know what? I'm telling you, I almost didn't make it. I almost didn't make it, y'all. And I just want to tell the moms, we do need counseling, but we need our own version of counseling. We don't need to be going to no white shrink, you know, and I'm sorry for being so long-winded, but again, we need to get it more, we need to focus on separating ourselves right now from these things, from the presidency, separating ourselves from what they're talking about. I don't care what they trying to talk about vaccinations, and then Donald Trump said China was the cause of this vaccines of the COVID-19. And when they try to put it on Africa and black folks, they try to say we were highly more impacted of it. Fauci said it. Donald Trump said, nope, that's China. That's what he said. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Nope, this is China. And then now that Joe Biden gets up there and talk, oh, thank you for electing me, and black people had my back. Black people had my back. Now let's talk about COVID-19. Black folks are the most impacted by it because it started with black people. Then it started with the Hispanics, then the Asians, now, and white people were not affected by it. And if you don't believe me, look up that video. It's on there. It's on that YouTube video. Someone showed that video. I think it was the Great Black Shark. Look that up. Great Black Shark is no joke. And I says, ain't this about Sejahito? See, he's another one. He's the one that posted that video about they're trying to make it's a black problem. COVID-19 has always been a black problem. So for those who are Democrats, you know, and Republicans, the Democrat kids, go right on the head. I'm apologizing for that, but I don't respect you because you sold our kids out to the slaughterhouse. You know, Donald Trump ain't did nothing but talk a whole bunch of crap. He's racist all around the board. He don't even like white supremacy. He just talked that mess. And yet police officers got to go to jail. And they're looking at him like, what the hell are you doing? You know, you're supposed to let me go free. Obama let us walk free. How come you couldn't let us go free? And he's pretending like, I don't know nothing. It's good and cops and bad cops everywhere. And no one's catching on to that. Then all of a sudden we getting stimulus checks. Joe Biden is not going to give you a stimulus, nothing. Y'all going to get put in prison. Just simple shit. Kamala Harris going to find all kind of simple reasons why you're going to lose your kids. You see what I'm saying? It's money. Where's all that money going to? And you're going to see a lot of Indian people flocking out of India to come and take over the United States. China finna be out of business. I don't care what nobody say. They finna be out of business in them black neighborhoods, and the Chinese business that was in the black neighborhoods that's been closed down right now because of COVID, it's finna reopen back up. And instead of y'all buying orange chicken, y'all gonna be putting y'all money towards orange curry chicken. Watch what I tell you. Because that's Kamala people. That's Kamala people. But I that's all I wanted to say. I did enough talking. I did enough of that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of my feelings was put into this, and I want to apologize. Didn't want to attack that good brother there because I talked to him. He a good ass brother. I listened to him and the shit that he been through, and I think that's so freaking unfair and unfortunate because that's new to me. And don't know sister should be doing that to no brother like that. Okay, you trying to be a damn father. We having a hard time having a real man in our lives, let alone a father to help raise the children. So for us to hear this is like, dude, where's she at? So she get knocked out. This is disrespectful, dude. But I was proud to have my father. My mother tried to chase him away, but you know what? We wouldn't let her. Me and my brother, we needed our daddy. Our daddy was everything to us. When my mama did things to us that was ungrateful, guess what? My daddy was dead. He was the savior. That was my daddy, not no white man. And no, the government don't love black women. The Asian women get everything. Well, this is what I learned. The Asian women. I worked at a property management firm. The Asian single moms, they can't get welfare unless they're married. And if they find out, or they're living with their families, if they live with their families, they can get welfare. White moms don't have to have no type of credentials. White single mothers, she gets $2,000 in child support, and she get welfare. The system, the system's not taking money from her from getting CalWorks and food stamps. She get that up until her kids turn 18. I learned about that working for the Belmont Rehabilitation Center in San Mateo County. So yeah, I'm gonna tell that shit. Yeah, that's racist as fuck. Black women, you get 5 years. That's it. That's just it. So that's the end of my thing. Just hold that. Just think about it and see why they're doing what they're doing. Understand where this is coming from, and let's just focus on our babies. Let's not let this election and stuff turn us really against each other. That was just a trick. That's a trick bag that she tried to pull with this black girl magic crap. Okay, don't fall for that. She's not us. She's not one of us. And any female who fall for that bull crap, she's gonna be left behind, and she gonna get hurt first because she's the sleeping one. Okay, so you guys, I'm gonna get off this live stream. I'm gonna go check on my 2-year-old because he's upset with me right now. So I'm gonna go check on my baby and hug him and love him and hold him and all that crap. And I love you guys. And I'm gonna listen to the live stream.
Well, peace and thank you so much again, Tanjon, for dropping the fire. You brought it. I tell you, I've been telling you for a minute, I definitely want to have you up on the panel. And if this is any indication of what we can expect when, we work out what your topic is going to be for you to lead, we definitely know it's going to be a lively one. We are going to be closing this out.
Give thanks.
Yes, we've had 2 hours of just very powerful discussion. There's a lot for us to sit down and consider. I think as a people, as a culture, a community, and a diaspora, I do think that we need to, what I've been saying lately, panel members, glowers and lighters. What I've been saying lately is that I want us to do as a people is stop shaming people and their journey. Because I've just kind of felt over the past couple of months, definitely, I felt that people have been a whole lot more, instead of us being a whole lot more understanding and sympathetic, we are more sympathetic and understanding when it comes to the fact that now we have people that don't look like us in a situation that resembles our situations than we do with the actual people that have been going through this situation. You understand? Being Black in America has never been, it has been a constant state of a pandemic. It has been a constant state of a crisis. But we have we become desensitized to each other, with it. So, when you find when like I said, I know for me and myself, like I come from a very aware, very socially conscious family. But when I say, hey, homeschooling, this might be a great, opportunity for us all to consider homeschooling. And I'm the youngest of my siblings, so only my brother has, no, my brother and my sister before me still have, children still in, school age. Everyone else has children that are in college or are graduated. But at any rate, people said, my family more so than anyone else said, hey, that's just crazy. What do you mean? Put them in school. They need to go back to school. They got to go back to school. And I'm saying, are you realizing what we're in the middle of? Why would I want to just throw my kids back in school? But they're just like, well, you got to work. You got to work. You got to go back to work. You got to go back to work. And I'm just like, no, I'm an independent consultant. I'll figure some things out. I have to take over some clients over here because I'm not doing as much vending. But let's just not do that as a people. Let's not do that as a people. If you have a neighbor, if you have a community member, if you have a family member that's trying to figure out a different path in order to accomplish, in order to improve the quality of life for their family, don't don't sit up there and say, why don't you just wait for that stimulus check? Y'all, I never got one. I never got one. I never got a stimulus check. I didn't receive those small business loans, but when I tell you God has kept me, God has kept me. God has kept me. I've been able to, like I said, been able to pick up some, new clients in ways that in fields that I hadn't even considered in a while, and was able to really get over back up to Georgia actually after my move and get on my feet relatively, quickly within 3 months. Whereas, like I said, if I would have listened to what my family was saying, what my colleagues were saying, I definitely would have just stayed where I was, relying on the eviction moratorium and just waiting for a stimulus check. So we've got to start, as Sir Senior and as Miss Roots were saying in our chat, we've got to start really not just having these conversations, but solution execution. Solution execution. So we do have a lot to unpack. Miss Roots, sis, I'm going to let you have the final word. And y'all know what to do. Until next time, y'all know we're going to glow up, but we're going to let you have that final word, Miss Roots. And I am going to drop your link again for your channel.
Thank you, Courtney. Wow, I just spent the last 20 minutes listening and learning. It's a two-way process, I'm from the UK, so listening to the sister that was speaking there about her experiences, and listening and feeling even the passion and all those levels of emotion. I really learned a lot. And I think what stands out to me is, even though we're all of African heritage, there's a different story in America as compared to in the UK. And I know that sounds obvious, but honestly, it's subtly different. In the UK, it's very discreet and very subtle, whereas and as I say, it's almost like I knew, but it's different when you hear it firsthand and so fresh and so live. So that really was an eye opener for me, and it just confirms the level of work that needs to be done for our people. Really, I mean, gosh, the inequalities and the injustices are blatant and explicit, and we have got a lot of work to do. So I think there it is. Where do we start with regards to kind of healing and finding solutions? I subscribe to the whole notion of education being the hub, but how will it look? How will it be delivered? Who delivers it? Where do we start with it all? Is home education the beginning? And again, where do people who want to homeschool go for support? All of these things start with conversations like this. And I believe that we're in a really pivotal time where we can now begin to start making those changes. It's almost like there's been an opening, almost like a portal's been opened for us to really kind of grasp that opportunity now, take it by the horns, and action the change that we want. And as I say, it starts with conversations like this, but conversations not enough. It has to then graduate into action. So it's all good us talking, sharing stories and being passionate, but really the next stage is the action and how we're going to deal with it and what we're going to do next. which is absolutely necessary for the healing of the nation and for our growth and for us to become ultimately free. You know, ultimately, freedom is the key, isn't it? So that is how I would like to wrap it up. Thank you for having me on your channel. I hope I answered all the questions and people were happy with the contributions I made. It was an absolute honor to be a part of it all, and I look forward to seeing what we do next as a people. I'll definitely be there contributing. I want to end it with love and light, family.
Love, light, and glow. Thank you guys so much. The stream is still going to be open for a couple of minutes so we can exchange some information. But until then, until next time, y'all know what to do. Join us back here tomorrow. We're having a great MX Media Group panel discussion about doing better Black business. Y'all, it's about us, the community, the culture, the diaspora. It's time. Let's glow.